Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Straight Talk No BS. And this is Lendria.
And Crystal.
And today is actually going to be season two's last episode, episode 13. Woo,
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 woo.
woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, very excited about that. We have so many new things going on or new things in place for season three. But let's keep on topic here. So today we're going to talk about boundaries. Um, last week on Red Table Talk, I know everyone knows about Red Table Talk. They had a therapist and bestseller. Her name is Nedra Glover Tawwab, and she was on Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith, Lauren London, and Gammy, which is Jada Pinkett Smith's grandma. Jada
Mom,
Pinkett Smith's
right?
mom, right?
Okay,
Mom.
yeah.
And they were talking about boundaries, and the best-selling book is Set Boundaries, Find Peace, a guide to reclaiming yourself. And I swear that God had put this in place for me to come across to, yes, to listen to this. I just happened to go on Instagram, and the very first thing that popped up was Red Table Talk and Boundaries. And I hit play, and it was the best 39 minutes of my life. Yep, I was telling Chris that I wanted to talk about boundaries, setting boundaries, and what those boundaries mean to everyone else.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So what I wanted to mention was I got the book. You know, I'm a big avid of reading. Look, I love reading. I have about 30 books from this whole pandemic that I still haven't read, but I am going to read. However, one thing that kind of stuck out for me when I was listening to the Red Table Talk was Nedra, the therapist, had spoke about how there are six types of boundaries. Did you know that, Chris? There's six types of boundaries.
No, ma'am.
Well, there are. So the six type of boundaries. I'm going to say what these boundaries are real quick. You have your physical boundaries, you have sexual boundaries, intellectual boundaries, emotional boundaries, and you have the material boundaries as well as time boundaries. I know we all know about the time boundaries. So they were breaking it down. So I'm going to break it down, Chris, so we can discuss it. So I know, and you know as well, Chris, that middle of this year, around June, I had made a decision to kind of like just take a little break, kind of reset. And my method of taking a break, I actually needed, like, I felt like I needed a mental break. Like I needed a break from just everybody. It was just too much. I'm the type of person that, you know, like overextends herself to other people, makes herself available to others, listens to others and their situations and whatnot. That's always been how I've been for decades. But I found that now that I have my own life going on and things I want to do, that my time is important to me and it's precious.
Oh, yeah.
And I was finding that over the last 2 3 years that my time and my needs wasn't being respected by others, and I wasn't speaking up about it. I was letting certain behaviors go, or just making excuses for it. But I was still trying to be available to other people, not realizing indirectly it was taking a lot from me. So I was starting to feel a little burnt out, starting to feel a little, exhausted, just exhausted. So I made a decision to kind of just stop, take a pause. I mean, I've done it before. This is like maybe the second or third time I've had to just stop. No, but this is actually the second time to stop. But I had to stop, pause, and really evaluate friendships, acquaintances, people that I have in my life. It included family, friends, acquaintances, Um, it did, where I needed to just stop and remove myself from any and everybody. And I did that for 3 months, just went ghost for about 3 months. In the method of me going ghost, what I did was I just got a second cell phone, blocked everybody off my primary one. I didn't want to have any contact with anybody. And there was only about 3 people that had contact with me other than my children, my job, Crystal.
I was about to say me, y'all.
Yeah, Crystal made the cut, but it was my my kids, obviously, my job,
Mhm.
Crystal, 2 male friends of mine that they're in their 70s, Irvin and Frankie, and another female friend of mine, good friend, Ebony. Otherwise than that, they were the only ones that had access to me. But I had something I had to do. Some people didn't understand it, but I needed to do it. And then gradually, as time went on, when I started to feel better and I started getting a better mind space and making myself a priority for once in my life, I had to really just stop and put myself as a priority. In the midst of me doing that and making that decision, some didn't understand. Some have in turn blocked me, which I totally understand because they didn't know, nor did I give anybody any kind of heads up what I was doing. But
Yeah.
again, I just had to do it.
Hmm.
So I made the decision, I did it, and I accept any um backlash from it, and i.e., no, I'm blocked from people, which is fine. I have no ill feelings towards it. I totally get it. But I had to do a little mental break, a little reset, a little adjustments as to who has access to me and let go of certain friendships and friends and everything. But Crystal never agreed with me doing it that method, but I did. So when Red Table Talk came about boundaries and I listened to their episode, I was like, you know what? I did the right thing. I did the right thing by doing that. And I did not know that what I was doing was setting boundaries, was putting myself in a position to set boundaries moving forward for the rest of my life. See that? It came full circle.
So what they say about blocking people? What was it? What was said?
That you have to do what's healthy for you. At that time, I didn't want to or feel the need to have to call any and everybody that I felt was doing a disjustice to me or not giving me back the same in the sense of a friendship or it could have been family, friends, whatever. It wasn't being reciprocated. I felt I was giving more of me that I was getting back in return. And I don't ever do anything to get anything back, but I just felt that it was taking a lot from me. And I didn't feel the need to have to call everybody and say, hey, listen, I'm taking a mental break. I'm taking a break. I didn't want to do that. It's just something that I just had to do. I just woke up one morning and said, you know what? I'm done. Enough. I'm just
Yeah.
tired. I'm just done. And I mean, because I told you, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't hear no more of nothing. I don't hear anything. I just don't want to hear any more of anything. I am mentally checked out. I cannot take it. I need to make myself a priority, set in stone the second half of my life, what's going to make me happy and do what I want to do. And by me making these moves, I have to step back and remove myself from any and everybody else. That's what I had to do. And according to the therapist, Nadra, it's normal. You have to do that and it's okay. She's got it right here, quoted in the book.
Okay.
So we're going to go through the 6 boundaries and you can let me
Okay.
know how or where you how you feel about them. Okay, so the first one is physical boundaries. So when they talk about physical boundaries, she gives examples of the physical boundaries violations. It's a violation. That's how she has it worded. Physical abuse. I've been violated in that area, even though it's been a couple of decades back, but I've experienced it. Another one that we don't really recognize, forcing hugs, kisses, or handshakes. I personally
Yeah,
like
I
to be
think that's
touched.
a I didn't really like I knew about all those boundaries before, like the six ones. I didn't know it was like listed as six boundaries.
Yeah,
Like
they're real.
boundaries to me, no, I know that they're real, but all of those level of boundaries is summed under the word boundaries to me. Like I
Like
have
even
to set
right.
I have to set my level of comfortability for everyone and everything. That's boundaries for me. So whether that's
You shouldn't have to do
sexually,
that.
why shouldn't I?
No, no, your boundaries should be your boundaries as to what gives you or makes you feel comfortable. How you
Yeah,
want to be
that's what I'm
treated.
saying. My
Right.
level of comfortability. But as it
Correct.
pertains to what I deal with on a daily basis, is what I'm saying to you, right? So I know my level of comfortability
Mhm.
already. I know my boundaries already, but I have to constantly, I guess, remind others of my
Right.
boundaries,
And
whether
that's
that's physically,
correct.
hugs, shaking
Correct.
hands, or people. I went out to visit me. People took their hand to shake my hand the other day. I was like, elbow. That's my boundary.
Right.
I
They're
can't.
crossing
I'm
your
not shaking
boundary.
your hand.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'm gonna elbow you,
Correct.
right?
Right. So that's the boundary that some people are not even aware that they're crossing someone's boundary. Like you have every right to say, I am not comfortable
Yeah.
hugging. It's a pandemic. I'm not comfortable having a conversation so close you don't have a mask on.
Should
You
I
are,
have to say that though? Is
but
like,
but unfortunately, in order for people, you do not. I give you credit on this one. You do have to tell people according to what she says. I know you said to me, you always preach to me, you have to tell somebody um how you want to be treated. And I've always been
yeah,
against that and said, no, when you're a certain age, you should just know. But from what I understand, and the takeaway from that episode was if a person doesn't know, how are they going to know they're crossing your boundaries? Now, if you let them know, this is a boundary here that I have in place for myself that makes me feel comfortable, but then you continue to cross that boundary, then that's a problem. Because at
right.
that point there, you're not respecting me. And then,
Exactly.
and then at that point now, I have to take you from whatever area or section I had you included in my life and put you outside of that circle now because you're not respecting my boundaries.
Yeah. But I
Right.
gotta let you know, right? I gotta let you know why I put you in that category. Why I put
Correct.
that. Yeah.
Correct. So they were talking about some of the examples of just the physical boundaries. It could be something as simple as reading someone's journal, where your sister may come over and feel that because you're her sister, she's ever right to pick up your journal and read it.
Nuh-uh, you don't have no right to
You
do
don't have no
that,
right to do that.
sis. No, yeah, no
Correct.
right. Yeah,
Correct.
it's
Or
not
even
privacy.
or you touching someone inappropriate, which that one there we already know, or even standing too close. Like I know for me, I don't like people in my immediate space
Yeah,
unless I welcome it. If I don't
yeah,
welcome it, I would rather you not be in my immediate space. You can talk to me from, a little distance, but not in my immediate breath smelling face. No, I'm not
yeah.
comfortable with it. So they talked about the physical ones and then the sexual boundaries, and they gave some examples of the sexual boundaries violations. Sexual jokes. We've all been present, someone has a sexual joke. Again, you may not like it. It's a boundary that's crossed. Sexual innuendos, another one. Touching in a sexual aggressive manner. Comments about someone's sexual appearance. All of these things here are boundaries that, again, especially in the workplace, you
Mm-hmm.
come to work and wear a skirt or wear something, and someone making make a comment to you, say, "Wow, you really look good in that. Look how it shapes your body. Look how it shapes your backside."
Oh, that's
Inappropriate.
sexual harassment. I would hope somebody would report
Hell
them.
yeah. Hell yeah. Then they said emotional boundaries, right? So some examples of the emotional boundaries. Sharing too much too soon,
Mm.
oversharing, right? Another one was telling people how to feel, such as you shouldn't be sad about that. We're all guilty of that. We may not realize it. Um, I know that I heard about that one when I went through my own issues with trauma and abuse, where people would try to comfort me. And even when we did the first episode, and I would say to you, I don't like hearing that. I don't need you to tell me you're gonna be okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like I don't. You don't have to tell me that, not that I'm trying to be insensitive. I can know it's coming from a great place, like a kind place. It's nothing negative or malice in you. Um, but at that moment, it was just me sharing what I went through. Just
Yeah.
me sharing my
See,
journey.
that's an absolute physical, I guess, emotional boundary for me, is because I know if I was in that position, I would want my space, and I would
Correct.
want, wouldn't want to be told it's gonna be okay. I want to be comforted. So for me, I wouldn't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't
But
think
but
people are
but you
gonna.
know what? But sometimes just you not knowing what to say, don't say nothing. Because the person on the other end probably doesn't need you to say anything.
But
Just
they
needs
probably
you to be
do.
present. No,
But they
not all the
probably
time.
do.
Not all the time.
Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is some do. Some want you to,
Right.
like, it's
But
gonna
you
be
have to
okay. They
ask.
want that comfort.
But
Oh, so
ask.
you have to ask. Okay.
Ask.
So how do you
That's what
ask
they're
that
saying. Ask.
question? How would you like to be asked? Out of curiosity.
Okay, I'll give you a scenario. Hey, I'm so sorry you're going through what you're going through. I'm here. Tell me what you need from me. I'm here. Tell me what you need from me. If you need me just to be present and sit here next to you, I'm here all night. You need me to hug you? Tell me. I'm right here. I'm not going nowhere. I'm right here. I'll be here
Yeah.
as long as you need me. That's it. And if you sit
See,
there and
I've
you
been.
cry for 2 hours,
Yeah.
you sit there and you cry for 2 hours, and I'm going to put my arm around you, or I'm going to ask you, is it okay if I put my arm around you? And if you say yes, that's it. We sit there for 2 hours and you cry.
Mm.
That's it.
See, I've been in situations like that where I've asked that question and they don't answer me. And what do I? So that I would
And
imagine, because
just
they're
don't do
too
nothing.
distraught. They're too distraught
Then
to
don't do anything.
answer.
Just be present. Just be present. Just sit there and be present.
Okay.
Yeah, just be present. That's what they were saying. They were saying we automatically go into the you can be okay. That's not that serious. Don't worry about it. It's not
Yeah.
big of a deal. That's nothing. We're minimizing or dismissing how they feel, whereas our experiences could have given us thicker or tougher skin. So with us, and I'm guilty of it because you heard me sometimes like, what you upset about? Girl, please. Whereas I can say that based on experiences I've been through, where I know there are certain grades of what to get upset about and what's really not to get upset about. Where when someone else would say something to me and I'm thinking to myself, really? He or she's upset over that? Are you serious? Like, there ain't nothing to get upset about.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're dismissing how the person feels. And we're dismissing that their feelings are even valid. So that's something we shouldn't do. Even when they say emotional dumping, excessive venting, even that's a boundary. I know I tried to practice asking, are you free? Hey, you mind if I vent? Like, to give a heads up, because sometimes some people may have their own issues where they may not be in that space to hear you and what you're going through at that very moment, because they're going through some real life situations themselves. So we can't automatically assume that we're ready to just dump on us, dump on them what we're going through, not knowing what else they may be dealing with. So again, that's a boundary, right? And a
Yeah,
lot of
that makes
people
sense.
guilty of that. People's guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or even sharing inappropriate, they say sharing inappropriate emotional information with children. When telling kids too much. That's a boundary. Like, I know I've had friends that have been friends with their daughters versus being mothers with their daughters, where they would express to their daughters how their date was, what happened during their date. I'm not doing that for my daughter. Some things you don't need to know. So that right there sums up like emotional boundaries. Then you have material boundaries. And examples of material boundaries, I'm sure this one's gonna hit him for you. Never returning a borrowed item or asking for it. Someone taking something from you or borrowing something from you without your permission.
Yeah.
And you have no knowledge. That right there is a material boundaries.
Uh-huh.
Even though you're probably going to say yes, wouldn't you rather prefer to be asked?
Mm-hmm.
I have that issue with my daughter all the time. My kids, they just walk right in my room. I'm like, no, you have to knock on my door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when you come in my room, no, don't just start going in my jewelry box, going in my drawers and just taking things. You have to ask. Even
Yeah.
though if you ask, I'm gonna say yes, but you still have to give me the respect to ask, correct? Even for my son, we have this issue a lot. You know, he may see that I'm him, I'm working, and I knock off, I'm about to go for a run and go somewhere. Guess what? No car. Did you not why didn't you ask me? Why didn't you just say, hey, do you have anything to do after work? Do you mind if I take the car for a couple of hours?
Yeah. Can I
I want
borrow
to
the
go do
car?
something. And you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Can you know mind if I borrow the car? Again, that's a boundary. And but what happens is when people break your boundaries, the minute you react to them breaking your boundaries, then they now feel that you are attacking them. Where they're not
Yep.
understanding, they cross your boundary.
Yep.
So I found it very, very, very interesting. Then they talked about like the time boundaries, you know, where you asking people to do things for you for free.
Hmm.
When people ask to see them, I need you to do my hair for me.
Oh,
Can
yep.
you pick me up? Can you make the baked macaroni and cheese for my daughter's party?
Mm-hmm.
You know, can you babysit? Or hey, Friday night, you might have to drop the kids off to you and babysit. Where the people's always ask you to do things for free or assume you can do it for free. Or calling or sending text messages late when the recipient's sleeping. Like I know I'm up all hours at night. I'm up like 4 o'clock in the morning, but I would ask or let the person know, hey, I get up sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. I start doing what I'm gonna do for my brands. Um, when you wake up in the morning, do you mind if you see a text at 4:15 in the morning? I'm not trying to wake you up, but I'm up and I'm starting to work on my businesses, my brands and whatnot. I've got certain emails I'm going through. I know you're sleeping. I want to be respectful of that. Is it okay between the hours of 4 and 7 when I'm up? If I come across certain information you may need, and with business partners, I'm gonna send you a couple of emails. You either tell me yes or you tell me no.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm still asking instead of just assuming I can send these taxes.
That's true.
Is it
I think
different?
I remember you did ask me that too. Yeah. I was like,
Because I
why
had
she
to,
asking me that?
because I had to be respectful of the fact of you live with your man. You're in
Yeah.
bed together. You can be
Yeah, you're
sleeping and
right.
all he hears is your finger zzz, 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 ting 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 ting. He's like, yo, who's texting you? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's that at 5 in the morning?
Correct. But again, that's just being respectful of me knowing you have a family, you have a man, you guys live together, you're
Yeah.
sharing the same bed. You just can't assume because I can't just assume because I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning that it's okay to just start texting you at that time in the morning. That's what I would ask. Um, or even when the last one they talked about was, yeah, that was the last one. That was time. So when they were discussing it, there was Laura London was there filling in for Willow, her daughter, but they were discussing boundaries and how they struggle with boundaries. So when the episode was going on, I was like, whoa, this is me. Like this is me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where I have I have because of who I am, made myself available at times automatically without giving it a second thought because either your family, you're a close friend, you're someone that I value, right? So the minute I see, oh, you're calling, I'm gonna, hey, you're right, everything's okay, I'm available to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm putting me to the side because I'm giving myself to you. And then what happens is you do that so often that when that time comes where you may need someone to listen to you, what happens? They're unavailable, nowhere to be found. No, it's not reciprocated. Not that you expect it to be reciprocated, but the level of um, respect you have or loyalty you may have to friends, family, and whatnot, when it's not reciprocated, eventually makes you feel like, you know, it makes you feel lonely at times. But I
Yeah.
felt it was very,
Undervalued,
yeah, you're
underappreciated.
undervalued. Yeah, you're undervalued. And sometimes people may not even realize what they do. But I know when I took those 3 months, um, I attempted to let people know what was going on with me. And I remember one particular situation with this individual. Um, love them to death. We're friends with them for over 20 years. And it had always been on my mind a behavior that had transpired or that was ongoing that I never spoke up about. And again, it was me. I never spoke up about it or anything like that. But I remember bringing it to the individual's attention and saying to them, hey, how come you never visited me in 20 years? You and I have been friends for over 20 years. And I've always wanted to know, like, how come you never came to visit me? I've come to visit you several times and you never came this way. And I remember when I asked that question, which should have been a simple, what are you talking about? Yes, I have. And I could be like, no, you haven't. I've been on there about 10 times, but you never came this way. You come this way for blah, 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 blah. It didn't go like that. It did not go like that. It went left real fast. Until today, I still don't even know exactly why it went left, but it did.
Well, clearly she didn't understand or respect your boundaries.
Right. Because when I brought it up, they immediately went into defense and was like, what are you talking about? How long you been feeling like this? Why would you bring this up right now? Oh, see, you're jealous. You see, you're jealous to have a new man. And it went on and on and on. And, that was something that, again, I was shocked. I was taken back by it. I was absolutely shocked behind it. I'm like, wow. And I believe that was when I decided, you know what? It doesn't even make sense even letting people know, like, hey, I'm going to go off the grid for about 3 months right now. I'm going to focus on me, but I'll be back. That's why I made the decision to say, I'm not even doing that. I'm out. Deuces. Check me in 3 months. Yeah. That's when I made that decision.
But what do you mean by that? Like, what exactly did I do? Like, or even took accountability.
And that's where it gets accountability.
Yes, she didn't take accountability and say, like you're right. Like, dang, you pointed out that I did something wrong. Like, I'm sorry.
I never realized, right? And I assumed, and again, this is where I have to stop doing it. I always assume that people are gonna respond how I would respond in situations. Because if it was a reverse, I would have been like, "What are you talking about? Really? Oh, damn! I never even really noticed that."
Yeah, I was gonna say you would have been so
like,
taken aback that you even
like,
hurt your friend's
right?
feelings that
I would
you
have
would
like,
have.
I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm so sorry. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on there this month, and I'll check you in a couple of days. I'm gonna make this trip. I really did not know. You know what? I really didn't know. I would have felt awful behind that.
Yeah, I felt like you would have made it a priority to make your friend feel better.
Priority. Absolutely,
yeah.
She would have been a priority. I would have fixed that. I would have been like, you know what? Say no more. I'll see you before the month's out. I'm gonna make it up to you. And I would have went to dinner, probably taken her shopping, taken to get her nails done, hair done. I would have been felt so awful as a friend. That absolutely. But I was listening to that. I picked up the book and I haven't read the book as yet, but I'm very excited to read the book because it's nothing but great reviews. And we do take for granted people's boundaries. People have boundaries. We just take for granted. We take for granted of people.
Yeah, people take for granted of. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we take for granted of people. We take for granted of people's time, people's energy, people's affection, people's love. We do. We as human beings, we do. And sometimes, majority of the times, we don't even realize exactly what we're doing. We don't realize it. We don't. We just don't realize it. And that's the part that's sad. What are some of the boundaries that people's broken with you?
Well, you know a couple of them, girl, because I always call you and tell you I'd be so mad. But I recently I had to block my sister. I took one of your
one
of your methods, yeah. I just blocked her without telling her reason why. Because I feel like at this point, at this age, at this stage, you know what you're doing to make people be upset with you. Like, especially if you continuously done to the same person numerous times, like you at some point you should be able to not want to upset that person, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you go out your way. So for me, it was the littlest thing, like you read my message and didn't respond.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, so you don't have no respect for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to me,
Yeah.
I was just like, you crossed the boundary. Now I have to
Hmm.
block you because
Hmm.
I've already had this conversation with you just last week. And it
Hmm.
wasn't about blocking, but it was about respect and it was about trust. So now I can't trust you. Now, some people would be like, oh, what something happened to her and she read it and that's the last of it. Okay, cool. I didn't just block her immediately. I waited.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
waited. I
And
saw her
you
post on social media.
monitor the behavior. Yeah.
Yes.
Before you
So
make that
I
decision.
waited
Yes.
to make sure I was doing the right thing.
Hmm.
But once you removed me from once you ignore a message, you read it and didn't respond, then you removed your I have a
Yourself.
thing where I can see her for wherever she is. Like
Hmm.
she shared her location with me. So
Hmm.
because she doesn't live near me. So I told her like, I want to be able to make sure that you're safe wherever you are, like, vice
Hmm.
versa. So let me know where your location is. Sure. So she shared her location with me a long time ago, and definitely. No, not that day, girl. She took it off. So now I can't see your location. Then you have a message and you didn't respond.
There's all intentional actions that you're doing.
Intentional action. So I said,
Yeah.
you know what? Because of that behavior that you're exuding, I can't have that around me. I can't trust you.
Hmm.
There's no respect here. And this is what I just spoke to you about last week. So I had a conversation with you
Hmm.
a week ago. You're adult enough now to understand and respect it. Joe, you chose not to. So now I gotta go. That was one thing that was most recent. But listen, it's been years where people have been messing with my boundaries. Still to this day, I was in the grocery store, somebody was on the line behind me. She was too close.
Hmm. Hmm.
Too close. I had to turn around and I was like, it's still COVID. Can you please give me 6 feet?
And it's crazy because I had a friend of mine that I was friends with for about maybe 8 years, gentleman, in his old, I think he was in his maybe his late 60s or something. Anyway, every morning is no secret. Everyone knows that I'm up early, out the
Yes.
door, exercising and whatnot. So he used to work the night shift, and he would call me, exactly 5 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Lenny, what's going on? I'm like, hey, what's going on? Nothing much. About to go for my run, about to go for my walk, whatever it may be. So he
Mm.
would call me to talk to me or ask me about advice on a young lady he had met that was about 15 years younger than him. And he would run different scenarios. What does this mean? What does that mean? What do you think? What do you this, that, and the other? So in the beginning, for the first maybe month or so, like clockwork, about 5 times a week, he would call. And I made myself available, and I'd be walking and we'd be talking and we'd be talking for like an hour and a half. So it was great company because he also kept me occupied while I'm exercising. But then when I started to run, obviously I can't run and talk at the same time, or I can, but not an hour and 15, not an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes. So I remember saying to him, there's one particular day, hey, um, as of next week, Monday, I'm going to start running. So if you call me, I'm going to give you about a quick 5 minutes as a warm up as I'm walking to warm up. And then after that, I'm going to start running. But I can pick up talking to you when I finish my exercising and we could talk while I'm driving home. Okay, okay, okay. It's no problem. So I did what you're supposed to do, let them know. Monday came. I said, hey, what's going on? Hey, don't forget today's Monday. You got me for a few minutes. Oh, yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem. 5 minutes went by, 10 minutes went by, 15 minutes went by. And I said, hey, hold on. Sorry. I said, hey, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm already 15 minutes in and I want to start running and whatnot. So let me give you a shout when I finish and we could pick up where we left off. Okay, okay, okay. But Lord, let me just say this one more thing, one more time. And you know what I did? I allowed it. So instead of me running, I ended up walking for an hour and a half while he went on about what's going on because I thought I was doing the friendly thing. I want to say about 3 weeks later, I noticed the behavior never changed. I hadn't started running. I was talking to him every morning like things, like I had the month before. And then one day I was driving to work and he calls me and I say, hey, listen, I'm going to bring to your attention something I've noticed. For the last 2.5, 3 months, You call me every morning at 5 o'clock, and I adore you as a friend. You and I been friends for a while, blah, blah, blah. I don't mind talking to you about your relationship, whatever the case may be. But one thing I noticed is that each time you call, you never ask how I'm doing or how's my kids. I notice how you just automatically go into you. And even when I told you how I want to start running, you kind of dismissed it and you keep on talking about you. Without skipping a beat, he goes, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. I never have asked you, like, how are you doing or how's your kids? You know, you're right. Yeah, yeah. I never thought about that. I said, yeah, I'm not saying you're supposed to do it every time you call, but you like, just relax. He goes, yeah, 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 yeah. He goes, oh, wow, you're right, you're right. He goes, but listen, so we're supposed to be going to Atlanta, me and this girl and everything like that. And, do you think I should go? Completely dismissed what I said.
Yeah, completely. Because that.
And yes, like I just, right at that very moment, I realized right there, he was one that was blocked. But that very moment right there, I'm like, I'm not being respected or valued how I should be. It's not being reciprocated, the level of respect that I'm giving to other people. And I need to start making some changes, valuing my time, setting these boundaries, and removing myself from individuals that I feel like it's taking more from me than it needs to be. And I was like, hey, one quick second. He's like, yeah, what's going on? I said, listen, this is the second time I've mentioned to you something I need to do. I mentioned to you 3 weeks ago about I want to go running. You keep calling me every morning talking, but I've allowed it. So I can't get upset with you over that. But just now, I just mentioned to you how you never asked me anything about me. How am I doing? How's my kids? And you dismissed it and went back to you. I said, listen, you know what? I think it's best you just lose my number. Don't even call me anymore. This is not going to work out. I mean, I know we've been friends for a while, but this is the second time you dismissed how dismissed me telling you how your actions is making me feel. And if it was reversed, I know me as a good friend would be apologetic for overseeing, like for just that oversight on my part. So lose my number. This friendship here is over. It's done. Have
a chance to fix him. I mean, you told him once already, he didn't change right away. But give people a chance to change.
No, because even when I brought it up to him and I said to him, you've never asked me about my kids. Mm-hmm. You never asked me how am I doing. That's part of like the fan code etiquette. Hey girl, what you doing? How's the kids? How's the family? How's the boo? Everything's good? How's little man?
But everybody like you were raised a different way. Like people weren't raised the same way you were raised. So just
because friends that had the same etiquette as myself that do.
Yeah, but that's because of that they were raised similarly to how you were raised. Yeah, that's what that means. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just so you know, too, the Caribbean and West Indian culture is like that. We're raised to respect people, to respect our elders, to say good morning, good night, hello, how are you? We're raised when you call someone's house, you're supposed to acknowledge who answers the phone. You don't just ask for who you want to talk to. You got to acknowledge them. So we're raised differently than some people. That's why my dad always told me, don't marry an American man because they don't have no bro-tupsy, what he called it. They don't have that level.
Learn my lesson from that.
See what I'm saying? I married an American man. Yes. You see what I'm saying?
Dad should have told me that one.
Told you that a long time ago, right?
You missed that one.
That's what I'm saying. Like people are just not raised the same way. So for me to avoid that stress, that feeling, I just be like, I chalk it up. So you know what? Y'all just not like me. It is what it is. You're a different type of breed. I don't want to be around that breed. I don't want to be around.
And that's why, right. And that's why, again, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start slicing and dicing because I'm about to get into the second half of my life, and
Yeah.
I got all these business ventures going on, and things are getting in the positive direction. So you know what? I don't need the extra stuff that's gonna distract me. I don't need none of the distraction.
Yeah. That's why I'm
So
happy I got a small friend group. I don't my friend told me I'm mean the other day. She's like, "Oh, you mean?" I'm like, "Really?"
no, it's not a matter of being mean.
After I,
See, Ebony, my good friend of mine is Ebony. Well, you know Ebony. Ebony and I was talking the other day.
hmm,
And Ebony had said to, she had said to me, she was like, I was talking to my husband about you. I said, yeah, what happened? She was like, I told him that I appreciate that when I talk to you, that you never get offended by anything. I can give it to you straight and you can give it to me straight. I said, what are you talking about? She was like, most times you find that you have to filter what you have to say to people, or you may be having a bad day, or wherever the case may be, you just got to kind of put on a front. And she was like, the other day you called me and I was really having a bad day. And she was like, and you didn't know I was having a bad day, but you heard it. And you was like, girl, what the hell is going on with you? Why you sound like that? And she was like, you picked it up. And she goes, you didn't even just pick it up. You was like, hey, whatever's going on with you, I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like you need a hug. You need a hug. And she was like, you had no idea what type of day I was having. And when you said to me, do I need a hug? She was like, I didn't even know that that's exactly what I needed. I needed a hug. But the fact you recognized that something was wrong with me and something was off, you didn't ask me what, you didn't ask me how, you didn't ask me nothing. You just went into, do you want a hug? I'm gonna give you a virtual, I'm giving you a hug right through this fan right now. You good? Yeah. I was like, oh, but that's why she made the cut.
but yeah, that's boundaries. Like
Yeah,
you
you have to have,
yeah, you
see,
open that floor up for her to make that level of comfortability
yeah,
by telling you,
yeah,
how she felt. You asked the questions and she felt comfortable because she could have been like, "Nah, I'm good."
yeah, she could
Now
have.
what?
I knew.
Yeah.
And I feel, and that's the thing, it's like, for me, my one of my biggest struggle, and I'm still learning, it's still a learning process for me, but one of
Mhm.
my biggest struggles was setting boundaries. And I am learning now to set boundaries. And I'm learning now that it's okay to set boundaries. And if the other person may not like the boundaries you're setting, has
So be
nothing
it.
to do with you.
Yeah,
So be
so be
it.
it. Hmm.
So I'm learning that. Like I am learning, like this year, I started to go in that direction 3 years ago. I started to start in that direction where behaviors were now being more noticeable for me. Behaviors I used to ignore or give passes on, I started to really see it. And I don't know what shifted in me, but I started to pay attention. And then I started to see, okay, this is not healthy for me. This is not working for me. And I
Yeah.
started to gradually just dwindle down friendships. And then as when the pandemic hit was when I was like, okay, this is a time for me to really just slow down because the world came to a still.
Yeah, stand still. Yeah.
A standstill. So at being at that standstill gave me a lot of time to really reevaluate, readjust, see what boundaries I never had in place, which
Yep.
explained the people's actions and whatnot.
Yep.
So with everything coming to a standstill, is when a lot of things came to my attention that had probably been there all this time, but I never identified with a story because I was always, going, got things to do. I'm everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So that's why when I took that 3 month break, right, I said, "Whoop, I'm gonna just go quiet and be still and just fall back on a lot of things." You have to do that. You have to fall back, readjust, and now listen. I'm all about business now, boy.
Yeah.
I'm all about these reels and listen. hmm I'm happy, but yeah, so boundaries. I think everyone, boundaries is something that they're always going to be adjusted. Boundaries are
Yeah.
always adjusted. You can be
Yeah.
in
We
the
all
circle
have
one
boundaries.
day, out the circle the next day.
Yeah, we all have boundaries. We got that. We just have to identify what they are and
Yeah, and
live
set them
by them.
and
Yeah,
set them.
live. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and live and breathe by them. So that way, everyone moving forward just respects you. If they don't,
And
deuces.
and the thing is, I'm big on that. Like I'm big on respect,
Yeah.
loyalty,
Mm-hmm.
and reciprocation of behaviors and stuff.
I
You know,
gotta agree. Yeah, that's so important.
because
Respect and loyalty. Ooh.
it is,
Mm-hmm.
it is because, and you have to have that small or group of people that are in that circle, like they're in that box.
Yeah.
You need that. You need that. You do.
Yes, that's why I'm glad my circle of friends is so small. Like I'm
Mhm.
telling you, if you don't respect me, I don't like what you did. You can't curse out. I'm cursing
Yeah,
you out.
done.
Like,
Yeah.
and I'm going out your life. So for me, I would just, I would tell you what you did to make me upset with you, and I would just be out.
Yeah.
I would just be like,
Yeah.
look, like I can't deal with you because you've already crossed that line so severe. And I
Hmm.
just met you. I'm like, yeah, nah.
Especially when you keep on repeating yourself, Lord Jesus.
Yeah,
You
it's like,
keep on
you know what?
repeating
I'm
it.
never gonna be your friend. I can't, you know what I'm saying? This is not gonna work for me. So
No, I
I'm really
agree.
happy to have a small knit group of friends that, that people on the outside can be like, man, y'all are a good group of friends. Like you guys value
Mhm.
and cherish each other. You guys, we don't cross anybody's boundaries or, we're respectful of each other. And I think that's important in friends and in family. So
You
people don't
do.
do that. Anybody, no matter who it
Yeah.
is, you gotta go.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am so excited that this is the end of season 2. And we
Yeah, yeah.
are drum rolling into season 3. Whoop, whoop.
Season 3.
That's my drums.
Season 3.
Yeah, we have made it to season 3. In season 3, we have so many new, exciting. You want to share what we're going to be doing?
I mean, I think everyone should go and listen to all of our episodes that we have up on YouTube. We have 2 seasons that we have posted on YouTube, on Spotify, on Amazon, on Apple, even on
Yeah,
our website, even on Facebook. So
yeah.
we have them everywhere you guys feel comfortable logging in and listen to your podcast regularly. So check us out.
So
Like,
there's no excuses. There's
share.
no excuse.
Yeah, there's no excuses. So season 3, let me tell you, season 3 is gonna be bigger and better for Straight Talk No BS. We have so many things in store for y'all. We want you guys to be a part of our Straight Talk No BS community. Comment, join our lives. We're gonna start doing lives so you guys can visually see and hear us, and resonate with us a lot better. We're just gonna do a lot more content for you guys. We got some
Mhm.
stuff for you guys to buy. We're gonna have some giveaways, some products, some fun stuff. We're gonna be promoting some Black-owned businesses.
Yes.
So if you guys have a Black-owned business or have a business that you want to promote on our podcast, we are promoting um on our every Wednesday lives at no charge to you guys. Like, there's no extra fee for that. We just want to be able to shout out
And
our,
support.
yeah,
Mhm.
and support like our fellow community, like always. So just send us those DMs, like DM us if you have a small business you want to promote on our Wednesday lives. You can
Or
join.
any topic you want to talk about too.
Yes, any topic you want to talk about. Wednesday's
Mhm.
going to be straight talk with us, like Len and Chris. So we're going to just chit chat. We're going to just talk to the ladies or to the fellas. You guys can join. We're going to see how your week was. We're going to talk with somebody that's has a small or Black-owned business, and we're just going to empower and elevate and grow.
We're very excited as well too. Very excited.
Exactly. So stay tuned, y'all. We got some fun stuff for you guys.
And thank you for hanging in. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Don't forget to check out our other videos on our YouTube page and follow us on our social platforms. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We talk about a lot of stuff on there all the time. So we want to hear from our listeners. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And we'll see you guys right here, same time, same place next week.
Don't forget to check out our other videos on our YouTube page and follow us on our social platforms. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We talk about a lot of stuff on there all the time. So we want to hear from our listeners. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys right here, same time, same place next week.